What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be showing you from start to finish on how to source from China online. Whether you want to start a business online or maybe want to consider maybe some drop shipping in your life, stay tuned. So how I want to run this video is that I'm going to go through the steps in chronological order of what I believe will be the most efficient way for you to start finding your supplier in China. And then at the end, I'm going to go through some tips and recommendations based on some of the experience I had trying this myself. So the first step is to determine what kind of products you want to sell in your business or maybe online. Typically, each business or individual kind of has their own niche that they want to focus in. In this example, I'm just going to be going through some wireless headphones I just found online. The next step is to establish Chinese social media account, in particular WeChat. The reason I say this is that you want to make it very easy to get in contact with your suppliers in the event that they want to communicate with you and you don't want to use email or anything like that. There are platforms that I'm going to go into a little bit later on how to source from China that may have a chat function. But typically WeChat is the fastest way to go because a lot of these companies may already have a WeChat account. If you don't have a WeChat account, nor do you know how to open one, you can refer to this video right here and I go through step-by-step for foreigners on how to use WeChat and how to register for an account. Oh, and by the way, in WeChat, you can translate text from Chinese to English and vice versa. It's pretty convenient. The next step I recommend is to establish an Alipay account. Now, if you want an official Alipay account that's verified, you need a Chinese bank account and you need to come to China for that. However, you can use the Alipay Tour Pass if you don't want to come to China, which is like a pseudo Chinese bank account. And I go through step by step on how to open an Alipay Tour Pass account right here. And I'll put the information description down below. Now, the reason I recommend an Alipay account is that if you do pay with Alipay, which is like in Chinese RMB, the price can be up to half price. Like you just save so much money instead of having to use your MasterCard or Visa card using an international platform that accepts maybe USD instead of RMB. The next step is to actually register for a wholesale or retail platform. Now there are many different platforms you can use. Like there's 1688, Alibaba, DHgate, AliExpress, Taobao. And I'll put down in the description below on how to use most of these step by step. If you don't know how to speak any Chinese or read Chinese, I break it down Barney style. But you need a platform to find your items, so I highly recommend one of those that I mentioned above. The next step is to actually look for the product you want to sell. As I mentioned before, in this example, I'm going to be using these wireless headphones, and you can find the same headphones across multiple platforms. And you can kind of see right here the difference of the pricing. So like I said, if you have an Alipay account, you can use 1688 or Taobao for a cheaper price. The only downside is that maybe the international shipping is not automatically included and you may need to coordinate that yourself. Speaking of shipping, the next step is to analyze the shipping costs for the different platforms. So if you use a platform like Alibaba or AliExpress that's international, you can pay using your Visa or MasterCard and the shipping should be included with your purchase. If you use a platform like 1688 or Taobao, which are probably my favorite in China, then you may need to seek a third party to go ahead and ship the items for you. Don't worry, if you don't know how to ship items from China overseas, you can check out this video right here and I go through step by step using the Suifeng or SF app as a foreigner, which makes it pretty user friendly. I go through it all in English, so it's very easy to follow. But yeah, if you're buying from the domestic market and you're directly contacting the manufacturer, you can go ahead and after they finish making the goods, they'll give you a notification, you can coordinate the shipping, and then they ship it to your respective country and you're done. The last step is to pick the platform you're most comfortable with and start buying. As I mentioned before, there's international versions like Alibaba, AliExpress, and domestic versions like Taobao and 1688. They're all good platforms to use and it kind of gets some getting used to at first, but once you get the hang of it, you can put it like in auto mode. So I just went through all the steps that it will take to actually source from China. But wait, I want to give you some tips. So before you go ahead and buy anything from China, at least you don't make the same mistake that I did in the past, to go ahead and move forward with this whole sourcing project. The first tip is to try and feel the product yourself. Especially if you're gonna sell this to other people, you need to touch it and understand the product. Some of the advertising in China is really good, like they're very convincing. But when you end up getting the end product, it's like, man, this is a bunch of garbage. So make sure you look at the reviews and you test out maybe buying 1 or 2 of the products and you test it out yourself to make sure you're good and comfortable giving it to the customer. What you don't want happening is that the product is crap, you don't know it's crap until the customer complains and just gives you a bad review for no reason in your store. If you speak Chinese or know someone that speaks Chinese, I recommend that you try the domestic version. You can end up saving up to 50% of the price if you know the whole process and doing that extra legwork that may require you to be familiar with some Chinese. The third tip I want to give you guys is to test the process. As I mentioned before, trying your product before you give it to your customer, test the process to make sure it's sound. So if you're gonna go the domestic way of coordinating with the manufacturer or the factory directly and then shipping it, test that whole process. See if you're gonna have any issues with customs. Understand the pain points you're gonna reach so that the next time you order it, it'll be nice and smooth instead of running into all these problems when you're doing your first purchase or your first sale to your customer. What you don't want to happen is that your customer buys something online, they expect it within 2 to 3 weeks as you promised, but then you run into a bunch of custom clearance issues that just delay the process and you have an unhappy customer. And the last piece of advice that can actually still save you money is to consider an agent. Let's say you want nothing to do with Alibaba or the international version of these platforms that tend to be more expensive sometimes. You can actually hire an agent to do the legwork for you of finding the supplier on the ground and shipping it to you. Just analyze the cost, see which one is cheaper and more expensive using Alibaba or using the agent. You just have to do the math and figure it out on your own to which one's cheaper. But consider it if you know no Chinese, but you still want to find a cheaper avenue. So I hope you learned something from this video and you can start sourcing from China for whatever your business is in your home country. Hit me up in the comments below if you have any questions that I have not answered. And if you want one-on-one consultation with me, consider following me on social media. I have created a Facebook group for these issues, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll answer your questions within 24 hours. Also consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more tips and tricks about having a better lifestyle in China as a foreigner, whether it is doing business here, living here, or just general tourism. Anyways, thank you for watching, keep surviving, and I'll catch you in the next video.